Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now April 27th of 2020, and ever since the release of Star Wars: The Rise of Skywalker, a lot of fans around the world have been very intrigued about the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, in case you guys are out of the loop, we do know that Disney's new CEO, Bob Chapek, and the previous CEO, Bob Iger, are working together as a team. I don't know if you guys knew this, but during this crisis that's happening around the world, basically Iger is really trying to propel Disney as a company throughout this crisis, and in order to also reset how Disney will operate with Marvel, Star Wars, and other properties and projects out there that they will be working on for the years to come. Now, the thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that previous projects really created quite a divide between fans. You know, of course, we're looking at and talking about The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker. Those are the two biggies, right? The two big Star Wars movies that really created quite a mess between Star Wars fans. One would argue that The Rise of Skywalker was a decent movie, in which I believe it really was an emotional roller coaster for me. There's a lot of scenes there that I love and completely despise, I will be honest with you, and I've gone over this before in my initial review, if you guys want to go ahead and check it out. So, the thing about Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy, there is no doubt in anyone's mind that she really doesn't know exactly what she's doing with Star Wars. Now, we do know that she is no longer involved with any of the creative decisions for any of the existing Star Wars projects in the early development phase, except one project that is moving forward, and that is the all-female-led Star Wars TV series that is going to be created by Leslye Headland, and the reason as to why Disney's CEO wants to fire her. So now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are finished with The Rise of Skywalker, they are focused on their new Star Wars trilogy of films, as well as their new Star Wars universe. Now, currently Bob Chapek and Bob Iger are working together as a team in order to create a better future for the Star Wars brand, to evolve the franchise into something more successful than ever before. Now, as of now, there is one project by contract that Kathleen Kennedy is allowed to go forward with, and that is the all-female-led Star Wars TV series on Disney Plus that will be created by Leslye Headland, who was hired by Kathleen Kennedy. Now, Leslye Headland was said to have been Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant in the past, of all people, and that Bob Iger and Chapek are trying to find a way to fire Leslye Headland, as this actually creates a very bad image for Disney and Lucasfilm and the Star Wars brand in general. Now, it's explained that it's going to be a very difficult process to let Leslye go, as there needs to be specific circumstances to happen that would lead to the failure of a series per se, that would be made apparent for them to go any further as of this moment right now. However, Disney is now said to be worried over their image, since Leslye was connected to Weinstein in the past as his personal assistant, where it's explained that all female-led Star Wars TV series for Disney Plus will feature identity politics to its maximum, while also throwing in real-world issues, politics into the Star Wars TV series, and personal agendas. It's explained that this will be the only project that Kathleen Kennedy has any form of creative control over for the time being. As for the rest of the Star Wars projects, Kennedy is actually not able to touch that on a creative scale. Chapek is said to be having a very hard time with Leslye getting hired by Kennedy, since it also gives him a bad image of Disney hiring Weinstein's personal assistant. And can you really blame him? I mean, when you look at Chapek, when you look at Iger, I'm sure that, you know, they just let Kathleen Kennedy choose who she wanted to choose. The last person that you would think that Kathleen Kennedy would choose of all people is one who was the personal assistant to Harvey Weinstein. By far, one of the most hated individuals in Hollywood. Now, when we look at everything here related to Star Wars, right? This is, of course, going to be a very heavy project that's going to feature identity politics to the roof, essentially. We're going to have tons of personal agendas thrown in there, real-world issues, politics. I mean, it's going to be a mess. Unless they're really going to focus on story, which I highly doubt, because we have heard that Leslye wants to focus on identity politics and agendas and all these different crazy, wild ideas that just do not belong in Star Wars. Nobody and no normal person, like I say, and like I've always said, does not like identity politics. What do we like? We like story. If you want an all-female-led Star Wars TV series, so be it, as long as it fits the story. That's how I see things. This seems like it's just being shoehorned just for the sake of it being shoehorned in there, just because. And when we look at everything related to what Kathleen Kennedy has done before in the past, we've seen how much trouble she has caused within the Star Wars community, and of course for the Star Wars brand itself, how people see the Star Wars franchise. So thankfully, this is the only and the one project that Kathleen Kennedy will be involved with, and the only project that's really going to be driven with all this nonsense. Thankfully, it's the only one that is really going to be that terrible from what it seems. So with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.